Hi, my name is Josh Rodriguez, and it's safe to say that we are all here enrolled in university because of our past education and upbringing. However, the current state standard system of Common Core is not ideal for the current students using the system. According to the Common Core website, the standards are designed to help prepare students for life in college and their life afterwards. But how can a student be prepared for college if they're already struggling to prepare themselves for simply the next school year, such as a fourth grader struggling to be prepared for fifth grade? So my main claim is that Common Core standard system is an inefficient method of educating students in grades kindergarten through high school. I will be supporting this with the claims such as the system requires extra training for teachers and instructors. 2, the system requires access to expensive technology. And 3, state standard systems are simply not the solution for a better education. So my first claim that the system requires extra training for teachers and instructors, Alison Ghulam-Hussain, former teacher and author, says that despite research that says one-time workshops and short-term training sessions have poor track records for changing teacher practices, they continue to be the most common form of training teachers. So they're kind of shooting themselves in their foot when they're saying that teachers shouldn't be lecturing to students in simple lectures when they're being trained themselves in a form of a lecture. Similarly, William Trammell, who's principal of Callaway High School in Jackson, Mississippi, brings up the question that if this system is so new, then who can be trusted as an expert to teach teachers of the new methods for students to learn? My second point is that the system requires access to expensive technology. According to the Public Policy Institute of California website, the testing is done electronically through the use of tablets such as iPads and laptops and desktop computers. So internet access is required for students to take these tests. And paper and pencil tests will be offered for up to 3 years if the technology can't be accessed. Though the question rises that if schools still cannot afford this technology within the 3 years that is allowed, then will students still be able to take the test, or will they just not take the test at all? Similarly, the Los Angeles Union School District Superintendent John Deasy set a goal to give every student, teacher, and administrator an iPad, with each iPad at the cost of $768 per device. The total of all those iPads, along with the cost of necessary network updates, would exceed $1 billion for just one school district out of the hundreds of thousands of school districts within the country. My last point is that the state standard system is simply not a solution for better education. Tom Lovelace, who is a scholar at the Brookings Institute, explains, the quality of standards has not mattered. From 2003 to 2009, states with terrific standards raised their scores by roughly the same margin as states with awful ones. So in summary, Tom Lovelace is saying that that no matter what the standard system the state has been using, states with better test scores and states with lower than average test scores have been averaging about the same, no matter the changes that have been made to the standards or the methods of teaching that the teachers are being taught. And lastly, the focus should be aimed towards better teachers, not changing the curriculum being taught. Tom Lovelace brings up that a teacher is what makes or breaks a student's educational career, not the curriculum that's being taught. And the teacher is what helps the student learn their curriculum best. So in conclusion, the Common Core method does not properly prepare students for their future years in their education careers. Thank you.
All right, the main proposition and the secondary claims are labeled very clearly, and there's a good preview. I think you give us a little bit more on the controversy about Common Core to justify making the argument. The signposting in the body of the speech was pretty good, except at the end I wasn't sure if that last point was a fourth supporting point or if it was an extension of the third point. And given the preview that you had, I'm inclined to believe it's an extension of the third point, so you want to be careful about the language that you use when you're presenting those arguments. The proof that you had some examples about costs. I had made a comment in one of your supporting points here that you needed some data on what the costs would be, and then right after that you provided the example of the LAUSD. So that's $1 billion for that particular district. I thought that worked pretty well. The expert testimony is very generic in nature. I'm not sure that it's particular to the Common Core and the way it's working, or that it identifies particular problems. Like I said, it seems a little generic. The principle saying, well, how can we trust people who haven't been doing this before? That's a reasonable question to ask, but it doesn't necessarily suggest that it's any different than any other kind of material that's being taught. And I think that that's one of the things that gets left out of the argument, is that Common Core really does work substantially different and requires a different approach, and you don't really explain that enough. The only thing that you explain that's different about the approach is the way that it's assessed using technology, which of course increases the cost. One other thing I think you could add to that cost issue is some information about how difficult it is for schools to measure those costs or to achieve the revenues that they need in order to be able to pay for this. I thought that you cited testimony pretty effectively. You're pretty solid on that. You speak effectively to the audience, but like I said, you had a little bit more time, and I think there are a couple more things that needed to be explained. All right, thank you.